Hypocrisy! It's terrifying, isn't it? Prince William, one of our monarchs here in the UK, has started a new series called Guardians, focusing on the wildlife rangers around the world on the front lines of nature conservation. And this is a good thing, because wildlife rangers have some of the most dangerous jobs in the entire world. In the last 10 years, 1,400 people have been killed doing these jobs. I think it's amazing. It's great that this series is being made. And these people have jobs that are far, far, far more important than the generic celebrities we have on TV. They're giving their lives, dedicating their entire lives to a cause that benefits the entire planet, and that is amazing. And it's being hosted by a member of the royal family, Prince William, as I said. The royals are very interesting themselves. They like to showcase their apparent adoration for the natural world. King Charles himself is a massive advocate for the World Wildlife Fund, or World Wildlife Federation, I forget which one it is now, and even has his own organization called the Prince's Rainforest Project, which focuses on limiting and preventing rainforest loss in tropical places. The royal family themselves talk on the world stage about facing the biodiversity crisis and climate change, tackling it wherever possible. What a bunch of entitled gits. The royal family continues to spout all this stuff, but goes against it themselves. They participate in some of the most ecologically damaging things here in the UK, and they continue to do so even when knowledge is abundant, telling them this is a bad thing, this is bad for climate, this is bad for biodiversity, this is bad in general. Yet, those people telling them? They're poor. Poorer than them at least, so their opinions do not matter. They release thousands of pheasants onto their lands every year for the glorious hunt. Shooting fish in the barrel again. Same with grouse hunting. They own a ton of land which gets burnt so that they, on the glorious 12th, can go hunting grouse that are overabundant in number at the expense of not just all the species that are supposed to be co-inhabiting with red grouse. No, they get burnt up and killed. The land itself gets dried up and worse for sequestering carbon within it, and water runs down it, and hey, you get more flooding down land. But it doesn't matter, because the royals, they have plenty of houses. And although admittedly nowhere near as ecologically damaging as the other, is perhaps the most morally corrupt. Fox hunting. The king himself has gone on record saying he thinks it's an important British tradition. Up your own arse, mate. You're full of crap. It's not a British tradition. It is a tradition of the wealthy, which you are, I suppose. And regardless, tradition for tradition's sake doesn't make sense. Cannibalism has been a tradition amongst various tribes around the world, including here within the UK, if you go far back enough. Should we bring it back? It's tradition. Look, I don't care about their deer hunting or if they are able to do grouse hunting in a sustainable way. This means not burning the land to keep it just good for grouse and just keeping deer in high populations. That's not sustainable. If you're hunting things the proper way, going out there into the wild where it's healthy and nature is taking place, hunt away. Do what you can. It is more sustainable meat, as I've said in my previous video. But I absolutely just cannot stand how they are constantly talking about these things like they actually care, and go and do the complete opposite. This docuseries goes into detail, focusing on the issues these rangers face and what the species they are looking to protect are also facing, as well as their habitat. But this is so tone deaf because the royal family themselves have instigated that not just within the UK but globally themselves. But perhaps the worst is here in the UK. We are missing our rainforests. We are missing countless species that they themselves, not the ones alive today, but their ancestors, put bounties on. The wolf doesn't exist in this country mainly because the royal family themselves paid for their extirpation, the genocide of this species. And I don't use that term lightly, because they were allowing people to go into the dens of these animals during denning season and kill the pups directly. That is just evil. It's evil. No ifs or buts about it. And forgetting wolves for a second, as hard as that is for me to do, the rest of this country is still in a piss-poor state for wildlife and the environment. Yet, the royal family have a lot of sway in there, especially within the echelons of aristocracy, landowners, which they themselves are bountiful landowners. The royal family owns roughly 1 million acres. That is bonkers. That is a crazy amount of land to do good with. I'm not expecting them to completely rewild every acre of that, as cool as that would be. But a large swath of that land, most of it, I would argue, is being wasted just to look pretty, shortcut lawns, gardens, whatnot, with very little to no value for wildlife throughout most of it. I know there are some areas that they've decided, let's not cut the lawn there. Great, that is a start. But having all this land at your disposal, you can use that for so much good here. All you spout about doing better for wildlife, you could be, instead of releasing thousands of pheasants onto your land, you could stop that. That would do a lot of good on its own. Or you could reintroduce native birds. Things that are struggling, you could introduce storks, beavers and whatnot onto your land. It could be a jumping off spot area for the trial reintroduction of predators like lynx and wolves. This seems a little crazy now, but I guarantee in the future, this sort of thing will happen. And if the royal family aren't behind it now, they'll pretend they have always been. It is very frustrating when they talk about the success of the beaver now, when they are completely silent on it during the frustrating periods where they're not allowed to be wild in the country anymore despite being a native species. But they're happy to congratulate. Good job, this is what we needed. I wasn't allowed to talk about it because, politics. Wildlife conservation is always political. Whether it takes place domestically or abroad, it is always political. But they are always very reluctant to speak out. Do I think they actually care about wildlife? Yes and no. I think that they have an idea of what wildlife is and it isn't accurate. They think wildlife is something that happens over there away from us, and it's a sentiment shared by a lot of people in the British Isles. Wildlife is somewhere in places like Brazil, the Congo, Australia, not here, not in the UK. We can't have real wildlife. We can have bees and birds and whatnot, but let's leave those ranges over there to do stuff. In our national parks, we don't really have true rangers that handle things in a similar fashion because our national parks aren't national parks. They're just places that look nice. If you look into the lore behind it here in the UK, that is what it boils down to. Places that look pretty, and it's not something that specifically focuses on wildlife. Why is that important? Because that's where our rangers are. And as dedicated as I'm sure they aren't rangers in the same way. And why is that? Because they're not allowed to be. I remember speaking to a ranger down in Wales, not too far from here. I'm not going to name the place, mainly because I forgot the name, and it's in Welsh. But I pointed out an invasive species, and they were like, yep, we'll get straight on that. I saw the passion there, and I know it exists, because I would love to be a ranger here in the UK, looking after wildlife in a way that is actually impactful. And I'm not saying the removal of rhododendron or other invasive plants isn't impactful, but it's so small compared to large landscape scale stuff that we should be doing that other countries do. We need places for wildlife, and the royal family could be great for that. Yet, like everything else, until it's already accepted by the general public, they're quiet. Yes, they're doing good over there. Over here, let's keep the way things are for now. So I keep bringing up national parks because this is an important thing. National and state parks and places where nature is allowed to be nature in these other nations, that is what they're focusing on, the people working within those areas. And we just don't have those here. We have them by name, but not in reality. So the IUCN definition, the one that is used by most countries in the world, from China to the USA, is this definition: a large natural or near natural area set aside to protect large-scale ecological processes, species, and ecosystems, and which also provides a foundation for environmentally and culturally compatible spiritual, scientific, educational, recreational, and visitor opportunities. That is not what we have. We have this. A national park in the UK is a designated landscape that is protected for its natural beauty, wildlife, and cultural heritage, and where people live and work as well as visit. The key distinction there is the cultural heritage. That is the most dominant part of our national parks. If you were to go to the national park, the Lake District, you would mostly see farmland. It is no different to the surrounding area. The area outside of the Lake District, on its borders, and throughout most of the UK, especially in the uplands, is near identical because it is not set aside for wildlife. There are some areas that are set aside for wildlife, but it showcases that this is not what the landscape is for. They are fundamentally different, and that is wrong. You are misleading people by calling these national parks. And by not adhering to the IUCN's definition, the UK is basically pretending to have these natural places where nature can be nature. I'm not saying kick everyone out, that was always a terrible idea when the Americans did it. But we need to be realistic. We need to change things to both benefit people and wildlife. And then our rangers, our guardians, can truly be guardians. It is, as I said, very frustrating that the monarchy is parading around as advocates for the natural world when they themselves seem to not care all that much. So now you know what the national parks are like here in the UK, you can see what I mean. There aren't really any rangers doing what they need to do, except for in NGO-owned land like RSPB reserves. They do immaculate jobs. They do incredible stuff for wildlife. And if it wasn't for NGOs like them, the Woodland Trust, the Wildlife Trust, we would have so much less nature in the country. So say thank you to the NGOs, less so to the government or the royal family. The reason I am even more furious is because I didn't know this for the longest time. It took until I was doing my bachelor's degree in zoology, and it didn't really sink in until after that, between that and my master's degree in ecology, that I realized how useless the UK has been overall. And the royal family saying this, advocating for this, whilst it is good overall, it boils my blood knowing they could do so much more. The king has this project to help protect tropical rainforest whilst we are walking around every single day on the skeletal remains of our own temperate rainforests. A far more rarer and equally as important habitat that is just completely being ignored. The royal family could do better. TLDR, too long didn't read. Summary, the royal family can do better. They need to give up these ridiculous inane traditions like the driven grouse shooting, the pheasant releases especially, because 2 million non-native birds every year. What the hell? What is that about? Grow up, do your job, protect your country, serve your people. That's it. Goodbye. Good night. I'm going to bed. It's actually too early for bed, but dramatic.